There's this one patch of ocean that has absolutely captivated our imagination for decades. It's a place where ships and planes, or so the story goes, just vanish. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and separate the hard facts from the wild fiction in this explainer on the Bermuda Triangle. So, what's the real deal here? Is this infamous stretch of water truly some kind of deadly portal? A supernatural graveyard for the unlucky? Or is the truth something, well, a lot less mysterious? That's the big question we're going to tackle. All right, first things first, let's get our bearings. Before we dive into the disappearances and the crazy theories, we need to ask, what and where is the Bermuda Triangle? You'll sometimes hear it called the Devil's Triangle, too. Now, here's the first thing that might surprise you. The Bermuda Triangle, well, it doesn't actually appear on any official maps. Nope, the US government doesn't recognize it at all. But, it's generally understood to be the patch of ocean connecting these 3 points: Miami, San Juan, and the island of Bermuda. And we're not talking about a small pond here. This is a massive, massive region. We're talking up to 1.5 million square miles. And here's a crucial detail to file away. It's also one of the most heavily traveled shipping and flight paths on the entire planet. That's going to be important later. So this whole legend, right? It didn't just pop up overnight. It was built piece by piece over centuries. You can trace it all the way back to Christopher Columbus, who noted some weird compass readings in his log. But things really kicked off when a writer named Vincent Gaddis gave it that catchy name, Bermuda Triangle, in 1964. And then, bam, in the 70s, it just exploded into popular culture, mostly thanks to a best-selling book that really leaned into all the supernatural stuff. Okay, now for the good stuff. Let's get into the chilling stories themselves. These are the famous cases, the legends of the lost, that form the absolute bedrock of this entire mystery. If there's one story you've probably heard, it's this one, Flight 19. It's the cornerstone of the whole legend. You have 5 U.S. Navy bombers on a totally routine training flight. They get lost, and then they just vanish. And if that wasn't strange enough, one of the big rescue planes sent to go find them, it disappears too. 6 planes, 14 men, gone. But here's the thing. When investigators actually dug into the reports, the mystery, it starts to fade. The flight leader, though experienced, got totally disoriented. The weather turned violent, it was getting dark, and they were flying over a raging sea when they ran out of fuel. And that rescue plane? Well, it was a model notorious for gas leaks, earning it the nickname the flying gas tank. The most likely scenario is it just exploded in midair. Tragic, for sure, but not supernatural. Then you've got the USS Cyclops. I mean, this was a monster of a ship, a huge Navy cargo vessel with 306 people on board. And in 1918, it just, poof, gone. No distress call, not a single piece of wreckage ever found. To this day, it's the single largest non-combat loss of life in U.S. Navy history. And of course, you can't have a good sea mystery without a ghost ship, right? Enter the Carroll A. Deering. This big schooner was found run aground, totally abandoned. The scary part? The crew's personal effects were there, food was even cooking on the stove, but the entire crew had vanished into thin air. It's that eerie image that really fuels the legend. So stories like these created this information vacuum. And boy, did people rush to fill it with some pretty wild ideas. So now let's do just that. Let's separate the paranormal fantasies from the cold, hard, scientific facts. Over the years, the explanations have gotten pretty out there. Seriously, people have blamed everything from the lost city of Atlantis using its ancient energy crystals to scramble equipment to, you guessed it, alien abductions through some kind of portal. There's even a theory about a weird electronic fog that causes time warps. Okay, but what does science have to say? Well, it turns out there are some very real and very powerful natural forces at work here. First up, the Gulf Stream. Think of it as a massive, fast-moving river inside the ocean. It is so powerful that if a plane or ship goes down, this current can grab the debris and scatter it over hundreds of miles in just a few hours. It makes finding any wreckage almost impossible. So what about the ships that sink in a flash, with no time for an SOS? Well, there's a fascinating theory for that too. The seafloor in this area contains massive deposits of methane gas. The theory is that a huge bubble of this gas could erupt to the surface, suddenly lowering the density of the water. Any ship sailing over that spot would instantly lose buoyancy and sink like a rock. No time to even make a radio call. And that's not all. This area is also notorious for two other very real dangers. First, rogue waves. We're talking about sudden, massive walls of water, sometimes up to 100 feet high, that can appear out of nowhere and capsize even the biggest ships. And remember Columbus and his weird compass readings? That's a real thing. It's one of the few places on Earth where true north and magnetic north line up, something called magnetic declination, which can definitely throw off navigators who aren't prepared for it. So, okay, we have extreme weather, a superpowered ocean current, and some very weird geology. That explains a lot. But hold on, because there is one final piece of data that really reframes this whole debate. And what's wild is that this powerful piece of evidence, this reality check, it doesn't come from a ghost hunter or a UFO expert. It doesn't even come from a government scientist. It comes from the people whose entire job is to calculate risk better than anyone else on Earth. We're talking about Lloyd's of London, the world's leading insurance market. These guys insure everything, and they've been looking at the data for centuries. And their conclusion? They don't charge higher insurance premiums for ships going through the Bermuda Triangle. Why? Because to them, it's just business as usual. It's no more dangerous than any other busy stretch of ocean. And here's what that looks like when you put it on a chart. You see, when you actually account for the sheer volume of traffic, all the planes and ships passing through every single day, the number of disappearances isn't disproportionately high. In fact, statistically speaking, it's completely normal. So let's just lay it all out side by side, the myth versus the reality. Those mysterious compass problems, that's just magnetic declination. The fact that no wreckage is found, you can thank the Gulf Stream for that. The sudden sinkings, rogue waves, or methane gas. And the idea that it's a uniquely deadly zone, well, the stats just don't back that up. So, what does this all come down to? I think the crucial point is that we humans, well, we love a good mystery. And sometimes a story about a paranormal vortex is just way more exciting than the mundane and often tragic reality of human error, bad weather, and the incredible, awesome power of the ocean itself. And that really leaves us with one final big question. The evidence is pretty overwhelming that there is no real mystery here. So why do we still want to believe? What is it about the legend of the Bermuda Triangle that is still so powerful?